Alrighty, I think I'm all set here. Whew. Let's see if I remember how to do all this now. Oh, howdy, Xavier. Good to see you as soon as I come back in. Feels like I was never gone. What the hell's happening over here? Alright, hopefully BGM is good audio levels and stuff compared to the rest of the game or what have you. I'm sure you guys will tell me if there's something off. A lot of rats down here. I mean, it's not like completely out of the... It's not completely out there for rats to be here, but... yeah, that's where the... Okay, yeah, because this goes back to the trail that's over here. Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, it's not that crazy. And then over here... It just basically leads to more water. Yeah, close enough. Nothing really off there. That's normal enough. And this leads to... Oh, I've never been in here on this character, apparently. Yeah, so this is like, oh, it's ordinary cave with wolves and stuff. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Yeah. Then you keep going deeper. They jump down. And that... Oh. That is a very obvious exit. Yeah, and this leads to the blood stuff, but we've already been there in others, so I don't think it's that big a deal. I don't remember the boss for this area, though. I can't remember if it's like just more blood feeds or if they had something else. Oh boy, yawning first thing. What am I doing here? What am I doing? Oh, okay. Okay. Just got it. Yeah, okay. This is the way out, right? Oh, God. I just came here. I don't remember how to leave. I'm fine. All right, so this is a thing. Good to know. I don't remember if we've done the... Yeah, I don't remember we did the catacombs either, so those we might want to do a run through. Huh. They used a lot of the basic like citizen corpses here, not horn scent types, surprisingly. A chief? Good to know. Okay. They got it. The boss is the boss. What a shocker, I guess. Huh. Funny, dat. Yeah. I think we should do the catacombs. You know, get shots of them when they're closed, then we can get shots inside, you know, get a sense of the locations. See, this is a little fascinating to me because there really is only the fort here. There's not too much to really be all attached to, you know? All right. That's cool, cool, cool. Okay, so looking over here. This is not so bad, you know? Yeah, okay. I gotta move this over. I can't work with my keyboard being all the way over here. All right. I think this will work. There we go. Okay. Perfect, perfect. So my, we're in a new year now, firmly. No going back. And I have quite a bit on my plate, so it's going to be interesting seeing how things transpire. I got the first draft of Blood Saints done, so I kind of want to... You know what, actually, let me set this up real quick, because this might be more... Since we're doing so much else, this might be a productive... wait, but I think screenshots might be... Oh, no, I think it'll work. Yeah, I think it should still work if I do it like this. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see. We'll see if I'm crazy or not. I think this should still work for screenshots. Oh, this is for Garia? Oh, no, do it this one. There we go. There we go. All right. Got a few of these. Because this one I think is okay. It's a short one, admittedly. But I think it should be in an okay state. Again, slightly slower for...
Experimented on.
I don't think we're even going to have sections for this one, I think, in the end. I think that what we're at is... Oh, wow, they already changed. Well, this looks different. Wow, looks different without the fog, you know? Crazy. Yeah, okay, we'll put that in. Wait. Is there a reason you're... Excuse me? Technology.
The holy blood utilized
There
by
we
the
go.
Healing Church has lasted for decades. Part of this is because it is replenishable,
There
with
we go.
reserves of the old blood just requiring a dive into the underground labyrinth. But after Lawrence's head became the new source, there was a limit to how much blood could be extracted for blood administration. Even the Great One blood couldn't be guaranteed in light of the threats found at their graves. At the same time, the vicar was to be master of blood donations, providing relief to the people's ailments along with salvation for their souls. How did the church meet demand for the entirety of Yharnam's population? One solution was rationing. Nobody handing out blood provides more than one vial at a time. This was charity for the sick and needy, not for drunks. The church, in fact, admonishes greed, which gives them cover to stretch out supply. Another answer is mixing the holy blood with lesser blood from worshippers willing to donate a tithe. However, there is only so much that can be extracted from the congregation. Ultimately, they wanted to receive blood more than gave it, hence the dilemma. Part of this problem we see resolved by using dead bodies. Iosefka spends her free time refining blood into higher quality vials for treatment. But where does her
Iosefka.
clinic get the blood to refine? From her patients. Once they die with the scourge, she can drain them of blood before or after local burial. Wiles enter the bodies nearby instead of sending them to the cathedral ward for study or to be forwarded to the frontier for cremation or burial. Iosefka needs those bodies for research, and although she may be clueless about the nature of the disease, she is still a ranking member of the Healing Church. She has the authority to keep lesser specimens in her custody for private study, not to mention the knowledge of beast blood's role in administration to be experimenting with combinations of it to formulate new, better forms of treatment. The tragic irony that, in trying to save lives, she unknowingly gives them a stronger dose of the plague, only to kill the terminal cases and repeat the process all over. But this too has its limits. Ideally, they want a supply of living blood to farm for donations indefinitely. Enter the blood saints, or rather, saintesses. These holy women serve the church as nuns, devoting themselves to the gods as Adela often expresses. In practical terms, this means lending their blood to the Healing Church, providing the vicar's donations in place of the blood enshrined in the grand cathedral.
Yep.
The blood of two saints, Adela and Adeline, do both show a certain quality compared to the standard blood vial. Not only do their vials provide instant healing, they continue stimulating our vitality for a short period afterward. This sacrality to their blood befits their Germanic names meaning noble in light of the cross-linguistic connotations, but it is hardly Providence that brought these holy women to light. Rather, blood saints are modified by the church after a selection process. We see this in person with Adeline, tied to a chair in one of the research hall laboratories where experimenters have freely tinkered with her as another
Yeah,
patient.
nothing else.
The title essentially denotes special test subjects. The saint's selection is most likely made with the aforementioned blood types. Once the church studies a sample of the worshipper's blood, they can determine its exact properties. Those with potential are then invited to become special clerics, which is sure to thrill the faithful willing to give blood for the cause anyway. From Adela's black uniform, they remain fairly low ranking,
fog.
but neither are they pressed to act as preventative hunters. Instead,
Oh,
once
of
inducted as
course.
nuns, the women seem to be indoctrinated with all the church's teachings so that they believe the modifications by their white robe superiors are simply part of their sacrament. With the the blood achieving certain quality, they are released back into the public as valuable symbols of the church's charity through communion. Saints like Adela receiving unique knives for presumably bleeding themselves whenever a believer requires their aid in the field. This lets them hold currency with the people, like the suspicious man. And while they prove their nobility to the public, the church prepares the next tests to subject them to. These tests do have an effect on the blood saint, though the base product is what matters most. The Japanese description for her blood donations notes how Adeline is the one meaningful case among the whole lot, hence receiving more extensive testing in the research hall. As we can see, the modifications made to her blood provide more instant healing potential than a blood vial on top of the gradual healing. This contrasts to Adela, whose donations provide half the instant healing, less than a standard blood vial even, but double the gradual healing. Both have received the modifications, yet there is a clear disparity between them. If Adela is considered a trivial case, then it is evident that blood quality varies even among saint candidates, which modifications can't necessarily overcome. The healing church experiments with different kinds to see the different results. They only need one to make a major breakthrough for ministration. At the same time, lesser saints like Adela are still overqualified for everyday blood treatment, so any gap is really only the researcher's concern. In the end, the saints have more quality blood than anything Iosefka has accomplished, doubtless infused with the vicar supply. But why does the Grand Cathedral only recruit women for the duty? Both sexes should be capable of receiving and sharing blood. Part of it might just be public image, since Yharnam women held a spiritual leadership role in the past. However, it must be more than just deciding the face of blood donations. With experiments upon both sexes in other cases, women are likely more reliable for these kinds of experiments, period. It is women who mother offspring, taking the blood of the father and mixing it with their own to create new individuals in the bloodline through pregnancy. That requires a unique capacity for absorbing and carrying blood, making women theoretically more resilient to holding various wills inside their veins. We also can't ignore the utility of blood saints when it comes to potential as mother for blood babies. There is essentially no difference between the Thamirian royal tradition and the more healing church's more clinical process. Taken together, the old church most likely began the practice for those reasons, inspired by Annalise and her clan's renewed attempts to bear an infant great one from blood. Lawrence and his cohorts probably secretly hoped to independently engineer the process without relying on traditional methods. This would partially explain why Adeline became part of the bloathead experiments after already becoming a blood saint, as the healing church learned more about great one children from the co-specimen. With each failure, the healing church salvages the research as a propaganda and time-saving measure, letting these holy women take the same role as the royal woman of Canehurst, doling out rapturous blood. Blood saints are basically a long-term project for transcendence, which can be recycled for institutional longevity in the worst-case scenario. And without need to dispose of the failures, the blood ministers have been able to stretch out their supply for all these decades. Adeline.
All right, I think we're good here.
The value placed on a blood saint cannot be understated. The Japanese description to one brain fluid item affirms that a brother aspired to become a blood minister, and his younger sister in turn willingly became a patient for the sake of his aspiration. The sister is assuredly Adeline, considering her request for brain fluid, and we most likely find her brother elsewhere in the research hall. A single church hunter in black is inspecting one of the disembodied bloatheads on the central staircase, armed with the church's double-barreled pistol and the threaded cane to uphold his humanity. Despite not wearing the white uniform worthy of his superior's expertise, he still works in the experiment building, throwing the poison knives used for surgeries. It is obvious that he has been allowed to conduct such important research despite his station. In all likelihood, Adeline agreed to take part in the church's experiment in exchange for letting her brother fulfill his dream and work alongside the experimenters. The ministers agreed because her blood was just that valuable to have for a saint. The outcome was a brother receiving a look at how the healing church really operated, while the sister received tests alongside him. As the brain fluids text notes, they were fortunate to witness the surreal arcane happenings in the experiment building, though the number of sedatives on her brother's person shows how unprepared he has been for the madness behind closed doors. And while he is going mad, Adeline has become a monster, though maintain her lucidity more than most of the patients. Still, the researchers have left her strapped down to the chair just in a case, unable to even extract her saintly blood from the tool jabbed in her arm. This might seem a miserable existence for anyone, but she surprisingly takes it in stride. In fact, Adeline is the only sane patient reborn in the hunter's nightmare to not be begging for Maria in the gentle overseer's uncharacteristic absence. Despite a—
All right. What was that? With the closed doors. Maintaining. Yeah, that should be fine. Number of the closed doors. Maybe more lucidity would be better. I think that should be fun. Yeah, I think I like that better. Oh well. It's not like this.
Still, the
draft.
researchers have left her strapped down to the chair just in the case, unable to even extract her saintly blood from the tool jabbed in her arm. This might seem a miserable existence for anyone, but she surprisingly takes it in stride. In fact, Adeline is the only sane patient reborn in the hunter's nightmare to not be begging for Maria in the gentle overseer's uncharacteristic absence. Despite appearances, she is exactly where she wants to be, and for obvious reasons related to her brother like before. Indeed, Adeline has fully bought into the church's lies. When Maria attempted to comfort her with a key to the research hall's first-floor balcony so she could at least smell the fresh air when it became too much, the girl couldn't comprehend the so-called protective charm. She doesn't mind being trapped in a laboratory day in and day out, so long as she is helping her brother and the church achieve results and reaching her full potential. The smell of the flowers mean nothing unless she is the flower, a mind blooming with insight. Even if Maria despises the fact, Adeline is a blood saint and happy to fulfill her duty, keeping strictly to the church's teachings even in her current circumstances. Her one fear is to be abandoned because she is no longer useful, no longer producing results. After all the modifications, Adeline has become guided by all the damp sounds dripping inside her bloated head. That sound fades away if she doesn't receive brain fluid from test subjects further along the process than her. That is what she clings to in her darkness, head covered in a sack. Because the overseers, evidently, frequent visits have been hindering the process, Adeline asks us for the fluid after confirming that we aren't Maria, providing her blood as reward. She doesn't care about the risks. She just wants to become something greater to secure her brother's position and the church's holy mission. Before the sound fades, she demands more, giving Maria's worthless charm if the reward will satisfy. The second results in her becoming another of the disembodied heads, though she needs yet more fluid to cross the finish line. We can accomplish this by killing her immortal head and taking the fluid from that. Recycling her own, she finally recognizes the damp whispers as milkweed and receives Madman's knowledge, overjoyed to finally have received a divine revelation all her own. For her, it is a baby's first bath, bubuyu, being a Japanese tradition for cleansing newborns to welcome them into the world and their family. She is finally becoming kin to great ones, led by the star's guidance to the bottom of the cosmic sea. It is what she has always been praying for. Adela.
Adela? Hello? Adela? Something like this will be fine, I think, for a shot. Uh-oh. What happened? Sounds like we had another issue.
Adela. Add large examples.
Oh, it's doing this thing again, chat. I don't know why we've had this issue lately. Yeah, let me do this for... Yeah, we've had this issue before, too. I don't know why it does this sometimes. Such a weird, random, like, glitch, I guess. Can't think of any other reason why I would do this. Let me see if I can, let's see. Blood Saints.
Adeline's example speaks to the power of faith even for such a dubious religious body as the Healing Church. But not everyone is rewarded for their piety. Unlike Adeline's calm and confidence, Adela is a nervous wreck. Some of this might be understood if it was just because she gets kidnapped in a burlap sack.
Also, yeah, it is funny to me that, like... Because we've obviously had these impaling things, like, before. But yeah, like you say, like... They go the extra mile here because, like, I get it, because he's the impaler. He's the impaling lord. His whole thing is impaling people. So we gotta make sure that they're extra fancy spear things that you can impale people on. Yeah, it is a funny little kind of like branding thing. I also like all the blood here. Like, how many people have actually been going through here? Like who the hell is trying to grave rob, you know? Like, are these all Godwin's people or something? Anyway, back to what we were looking at before.
Forced to listen to the wails echoing throughout Yahar'gul. But when we find her cowering in the corner, praying to God, it is just one of many instances where her deep-seated insecurity is on full display. After seeing us wearing the church uniform, the Blood Saint will mistake us for a fellow cleric and calm down, only to reveal more anxieties once we have directed her to Eden Chapel. The Blood Saint constantly demeans her blood as vulgar, like laity, not priestly as you would expect. The woman even gets frustrated at her supposedly constant stream of silliness, presenting an overwhelmingly negative sense of self in almost everything she says or does. This might just be her born temperament, though it is liable to have worsened thanks to her devotion to the church.
Yes? Hornset running away and hiding? Maybe. Hello? Yeah, I'm not sure.
With her hands always clasped in prayer, even as a bloathead in Iosefka's clinic, Adela is obviously just as devout as Adeline. And yet, from our very first meeting, her death nets us Eden's Writhe as a reward. The rune was most likely a byproduct of the modifications. Adela fully aware of how clerics like arcane wisdom, the saint Eden hands over a skill of Madman's knowledge, she collected back in Yahar'gul for saving her. Whereas Adeline sprouted proper insight from milkweed at the end of her experiments, her counterpart possesses merely the first wrinkles on the brain. The only other person to share Adela's rune is Iosefka's imposter, who manages to develop this into a full accord of insight with further modifications. But as one of the insignificant cases, Adela is unlikely to ever reach the same heights, and she knows it. The rune, of course, lets the owner identify the secret silver oozing from warm blood, so it may well be that Adeline's paranoia about her blood's vulgarity is because she can actually sense when someone else owns something better. Heightened supernatural sense or otherwise, the saint gets jealous we take Ariana's blood, regardless. After enjoying the taste of a Canehurst noble-turned-prostitute one too many times, Adela kills her without remorse while we are out on the hunt following nightfall, acting extra chipper as her clothes remain covered in her victim's blood. Even as she pretends nothing has changed, she makes a creepy laugh when we leave, her mental unbalance blatant. Once the red moon arrives, she appears to lose total sanity, waiting outside the chapel to kill us or save us as she believes for our blood being sullied by the whore. Considering that she just breaks down into psychotic laughter without any feud with Ariana, it is obvious that the moon does its number upon her mind, but this is still because she was unwell beforehand. Whether thanks to the modifications or something more baseline, Adela cannot hold it together with her obsession over lacking as a noble saint, to the point...
I think that's a little awkward. I think it's better if we say, is doing. Yeah, I think that's better. It's obvious that the moon is doing its number upon her mind. I think that makes more sense in this context. Yeah, consider that she just breaks down to without, let's say absent. I feel like maybe we could add one more word here, like regardless or something. I'll have to think about that one. Yeah, okay. Anyway, this is fine now.
Whether thanks to the modifications or something more baseline, Adela cannot hold it together with her obsession over lacking as a noble saint, to the point an ignoble harlot sets her off. And either way, her blood doesn't transcend or degenerate its human station. Amelia. That said, supposed failures like Adela do have a place in the church hierarchy, and they can reach other kinds of heights. After all, why was Amelia specifically chosen to be the vicar? More fundamentally, why did she become a beast? Her answer to the current crisis is to pray, not fight. She has been using faith to hold back her scourge until it becomes too much to bear. The clergywoman certainly lives up to her name, Amelia, and emulates Lawrence, working hard to maintain conviction with his pendant as reminder. It is that faith which allows the beast to perform a miracle, healing her own injuries purely through prayer. She is not a hunter relying on blood vials to survive out in the field like the hunter chief who became a cleric beast before her. How then did she come to receive the blood? Experimenting on herself? But even as the master of the donations, she clearly is no more informed about the disease than Iosefka, who seemingly hasn't injected herself with the blood she refines either. So then, where did the blood-consuming Amelia come from?
Hey,
From being a blood
Sub-Zero.
saint. Indeed, only the saintesses receive the scourge in their blood, while remaining oblivious to the foe.
Yeah, it's the secret depth 6, you know? You have to beat all the other dungeons in the entire game in Bloodborne, and they'll finally let you be able to get to depth 6. I know, it's not really well known. Like, even Mef's wiki hasn't really documented this yet. Like, you know, they're just kind of slacking over there at the Tomb Prospectors. It's a real shame. They do such good work. Can't believe they missed this. Well, would you look at that? Speaking of... Well. Is that... Are those little, polypops or whatever they're called?
Nature of their church. A blood saint possesses the status to maintain public relations while remaining a powerless figurehead, subject to the old instructors in the upper stratum. They equally possess the incentive to emulate Lawrence, the first vicar who also supposedly resisted the scourge by carrying the faith and becoming enlightened even as a beast. Everything about Amelia's circumstances prior to our encounter fits if she, too, is a blood saint. Unlike the others, she never achieved the smallest degree of enlightenment and would eventually be doomed to beasthood, clinging to her faith ever further to resist the sin in her heart. That especially fervent devotion may be why she was selected to lead all other noble blood donors. It certainly wasn't for confidence. Ironic that such faith would end up as this living tool's downfall. But that is the price a saint pays to become something more than her meager station.
Interesting. Gonna have to... I think I might have to rely on some Lazuli stuff here. But anyway, that's I think an okay first draft on this. Maybe I could do a little bit of polishing on the you know, just kind of like the flow between the quote-unquote sections, because I don't think I'm gonna have sections for the end of this. I think I want to just have it kind of go from one to the other as one giant group. BB's emphasis on themes, not only maternity, but the role of femininity on a grander scale, so nice to see in games like these so often tackle the same topics. Well, I mean, I think I like that about From Software is it doesn't ignore the idea that, like, and again, I think this is partly because From Software games tend to be so, you know, they root their magics, their cosmology, like everything is sort of kind of like very well thought out and rooted in sort of like, oh, this is a world that's based around blood and everything, like, and they don't neglect stuff like, okay, well, what does that mean for sexual dimorphism and stuff like that, right? Like, what is the purpose of the sexes? Oh, this is actually a better, like, this is actually better. Interesting. We'll have to get shots of these guys doing their spells at a certain point too. Yeah, so I always appreciate, you know, obviously everyone knows the interview, you know, Miyazaki had a kid and, you know, he had a lot of this stuff on the mind about maternity and, you know, bloodlines and motherhood, you know, like, you know, this stuff was kind of on his brain when he's developing Bloodborne, right? But I think that it's a really impressive kind of, you know, I think it's just really impressive that you kind of take all those thoughts you're having and you kind of wrap it up into this like gothic, Lovecraftian, like, amalgamation, right? And I think it helps give Bloodborne a really distinct identity compared to like if you just had a gothic horror or a, you know, a Lovecraftian horror type setting. So yeah, I like it. Really wish we could have gotten them spells that work better in confined spaces. Could be some fun options. Yeah, I do feel there's always this problem from Software Magic where ultimately it becomes this thing where in the end you just want the better soul arrow. You know? Like, that kind of always seems to be what it will always boil down to, is what is the best kind of soul arrow type spell that will just, I use the spell, it will fire, it will do its thing, and fire upon the enemy with the best, you know, damage to FP or whatever whatever the balancing limitation is ratio, you know, spell usage in some of the older games. So it's definitely something that I kind of enjoy about the different titles, right? Being able to, like, you know, use magic and stuff like that. But it's definitely one of those things where it's like, damn, some of these, I would have liked it if we can get some really cool, interesting, creative stuff that are like useful and stuff like that. That you don't always feel like, it's just easier to just use Soul Arrow for everything. I might like this one better. Yeah, I saw that earlier while you were pointing out, Xavier. So that is interesting to me that they don't seem to be affected by those who live in death stuff. Which does lend questions to what they exactly are supposed to be. I guess they could just be like quote unquote hollows, right? They could just be Moja. Have you touched on the origins of the real world idea of hysteria and how that might have influenced Bloodborne's cosmology? I don't think I've referenced it at any point. No. Maybe I could bring it up. I mean, it's a bit weird because like it would have to tie into stuff like, you know, werewolves and things like that. And at some point, like I have to like not be like, oh, and this is clearly inspired by this and that. But like I don't do that in Abyssal Archive, for example, because that could end up being endless. So I try to keep it to like stuff that is like most relevant, right? So I'd have to think about that one, but maybe in Loran, because I'm gonna be talking about Flora in Loran. And when you're talking about Flora, oh, that's how that works, of course. Oh. Wait, this is not where I wanted to go. Oh, this is... Oh, yeah, I remember. Okay, yeah, no. We want to go up here. We want to go up here. Oh, yeah, I want to ask something. Do you know if Euphoria counts Putrescent Knight as those who live in death? That's an Xavier question. I would not know that detail. I would assume no, because my understanding is none of the putrescent stuff, except maybe the skeletons, would count as those who live in death. But hey, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm wrong on that. I guess it's over here then. Did I just take a wrong turn? All right, maybe I gotta cheat. Oh, holy shit, I forget these guys are here. I forgot. Do I have to... Was I supposed to keep going down until... Oh, yeah, okay. Okay. Nice of them to actually put proper stuff here. But, okay. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, actually, no, I can see it. I can see the vision. Yeah, I imagine it would work on the same tag system. The thing is, I have no idea what Putrescent Knight would technically be weak to. Alright, we do this again. Alright, we move over here. We'll keep doing it till it works. Ow! There we go. There we go. Easy. Yeah, I always like it when I find some cool little, like, little BGM stuff like this. This one is, let me see if I can put it up here. Yeah, this one is from Sonata a Carmessi. The Melancholia Immortal. Very very nice little violin stuff, you know. I love my strings. It's easier with Euphoria. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because the way that the weapon works, probably easier than other ways of checking for, you know, boss type enemies. Uh-huh. Okay. Perfect. We go there. Nice. There we go. All right. There we go. All right, yeah, this'll do. Perfect. Okay. Oh, where were we? All right, so we're here. Yeah, that's what I thought you would do. That's what I thought. Still? Cool stuff. I mean, in fairness, they don't look that different from other like they don't look that different from the nobles in terms of like overall design, right? Like the greenish skin, kind of zombified, little scraggly and bony. Like you compare this to what we see with a lot of like the nobles, and like this isn't that different. I think the major question here is what looks clearly like a baby corpse. And again, I can imagine this if these are supposed to be like Godwyn worshippers, and these are them like kind of like trying to foreshadow the age of the Duskborn or whatever, right? Because clearly there's this big idea of like, it's not just like Fia, right? There's a lot of other people who see the same potential of like recreating the Rune of Death in order to bring those who live in death into the order, right? So there we go. Still got some meat on them bones. Yeah, it's very obvious if you look at just everything about them. Like they're very clearly taken from the scholars. They're Dark Souls 3 scholars. They're just retextured. Reskinned from the ground up. There we go. I think this... I mean, you guys can correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I think this is a good spot for us to practice shots on the magic. Now, maybe I'm going to hate it. Maybe I'm going to be like, that stupid lightning thing in the background is getting in the way. But I think if I just stand here and I turn off the always stealth and I unpause. Yeah, they even have like the mark. I don't remember if the direct, because I think there's two directions this thing can go in, right? I don't remember if that's important. Ooh, I like that a lot. The subjugation of the living? No, the living are just coming under new management, okay? They've had their run. It's time for the living dead to, you know, have a shot. It'll be fine. we go. There we go. Oh yeah, that's good. Oh yeah. Oh baby, I love it. A little bit. There we go. Beautiful. All right, come on. Interesting. Is that golden glintstone? Is that... Oh. Oh. Uh-huh. Well, well, well. Morir es vivir. They'll only use a set one? Okay, good to know. Particles are Deathblight. Oh. I don't remember Deathblight having the gold, though. Am I crazy? Wish Resin some more, wish reskin more DS3 enemies. The Cerulean Coast could have used the Karthus Skellies as Putrescent enemies. I agree with you. I agree with you. I think it'd been cool as well if we had more reskinned enemies from 3, if we're gonna be reskinning. You ever have a goth phase, Loki? No. I knew a goth. I was never a goth myself, though. I would definitely say that I do enjoy black, though. It is definitely... I mean, red is really my favorite color, but, like, in terms of, like how much I use, I probably include black more. Like, I have a black desk, you know, I like my black, PlayStation, PC case. If I could, I would get a black PS5, but, you know, it's a PS5, so I take what I could get. I wasn't going to be like, is the PS5 you got there in the back, like, black or not? Like, it's like, oh, you might have a PS5 back there? Sure. Can you please bring it out? Oh, I wasn't being picky that day, I can tell you that. Yeah, Deathblight has yellow alongside black. Oh, I did not know this. Now that is cool to know. Uh-huh. Oh. I forgot how this all worked. I remembered the bouncing stuff. But okay. Can you do it again, friend? Buddy. How? There we go. Ah, damn. Ah, man, that is so hard to get before it hits me. There you go. Fascinating. Deathblight, Glintstone, Burning, and Ghost Flame. Yeah, ain't that a combination? Honestly, that'd be pretty cancer in PvP. I could see it working. It just depends on how they would balance the damage on the bounces ratio. Like if it's something where like you take like chip damage if you get hit by the bounce, right? But like the actual direct attack and maybe like the branch to a lesser degree would do the real damage. I could live with that. 'Cause in the end, it's still like a spell casting, and you can probably get through it by just, you know, going ham on the spellcaster. I'm not sure what to make of the staff, though, because it doesn't have any amber or anything in it. So it's very interesting to me how they handle this, you know? Uh-huh. Fascinating. Probably melted like Elden Stars would be mostly worthless. Ouch. Yeah, there's also all these like webs almost. I can't tell if they're supposed to be like cobwebs or... Okay, no, there are supposed to be legs to this baby, it looks like. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's just a baby clinging to the chest. It doesn't look like it's fused in there or something. Like, I mean, I would say it's definitely a little creepy. Like, why the hell where the hell did you get the baby corpse? That would beg some questions. And I don't know how I'd feel about having that thing clinging to me. I don't care what your religious symbolism is. I don't think I'd want a rotting body on me, but, you know, you do you, man. Your entire thing is death. I get you. An ascetic staff, probably. Yeah, it's just interesting to me how it's able to still cast stuff, you know, without, like, having, like, a crystal in the catalyst type of thing. Because I know we've seen that before, but, like, you know, just... I don't know, just a little... Again, I got a little bit of that Dark Souls brain on me where it's like, I don't know if this would be possible in the universe I'm familiar with. To trumpet America. Hey, Iman. Were they buried with their child? I don't think it's the idea is supposed to be they're buried. I'm pretty sure the idea is this is symbolic to represent the mended rune of death, right? Because clearly they have the curse brand there. I'm not sure if that's Godwin's or Ronnie's or what have you, right? Whichever symbol that's supposed to represent. But I think the point is supposed to be like they worship Godwin and they're like the Godwin's Death Knights. They want to prepare for this age of the Duskborn that will one day come. So they come here with the Death Knights to, like, you know, search for Godwin's, I don't know, how do you put it? His extra faces, you know? His holy images, right? And I think part of the idea is that, like, in order to have the Age of the Duskborn, you need a new rune of death in the Elden Ring, which will accept the Duskborn, which is what Fia's there to facilitate, right? Like, she has the means with which to create for them their rune to bear their child, right? Like, that's the whole thing she frames it as. Like, she is going to be the mother of the child, for, like, to all those who live in death, right? Like, you know, the prince's, I guess, successor, you could say, who will let them all be able to live in peace. I guess that technically, in some sense, would then make us kind of Godwin's surrogate child as the ones who own the rune and become the Elden Lord. But anyway, point is, I'm pretty sure the idea is supposed to be that this baby corpse is just symbolic of that, of like, oh, we are becoming closer to death and stuff because our goal is for, much like Godwin, a man who will produce a child, for those who live in death or the living dead, the idea with this corpse is the same idea. Like, this is supposed to represent that rune that will be harbored by Godwyn. Yeah, a lot of surrogates. Yeah, nothing else really, I think. Unless there's something else with these melee. No, it's just basic stuff like what we got. I don't recognize the attire either. It just kind of looks like generic, like sage or monk stuff to me. Maybe someone recognizes this fit from somewhere, maybe in real life, but like looking at it here, I don't see anything too special, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like in general, this fit, you could have put this on a wizard, a monk, a holy man, even just a regular priest. So I think that's probably supposed to be kind of this idea here. I'm curious if this stuff is supposed to count as sorcery or incantations, technically. Is it the idea that the worshippers were residents of the lands of shadow, or did they come over from the lands between long ago? I don't think it was even that long ago. I think it has to be obviously within living memory of. Okay, well, okay. So here would be the question: one, were these people already residents of the land of shadow when the Death Knights arrived? Right? Because the Death Knights have to obviously arrive after Godwyn's whole becoming those who live in death. Right? So they arrive in the realm of shadow sometime after Godwyn becomes the Prince of Death. Right? Isn't the homeware from late 19th century? Is it? I'll be honest, it kind of reminds me of like the stereotypical like astrologer type fit that you would see, like Renaissance astrologer wear. That's the vibe it gives me when I look at the hat, especially. But I could be wrong. It could be something where it's like, oh yeah, this is like, you know, the robes that like, you know, some like 18th century dude would wear in the comfort of his own home by the fireplace or something. They'd be hexes. You think they'd be hexes and not I guess that would make sense because hexes get recreated as sorcery. So yeah, these could be like new death hexes. We don't really get to use any of the death stuff in Elden Ring unless it's been recreated as a sorcery. So yeah, it could just be new hexes, which might also go into why they don't use any like crystal or something. Because I think the closest we get is the amber, the corrupted amber that is inserted into the staff, the Prince of Death staff, right? So yeah, that'd probably be the closest thing you got, like, you know, sorcerers living in Nameless Eternal City naturally, and they're like, oh, you know, get curious about Godwyn, but most people might just learn the death itself and it becomes like a hex type thing. All right. I probably shouldn't do this, but all right. Oh, he does the same thing. Okay. Okay, okay. All right, do it again, buddy. Make me proud. Anyway, to go back to Nick's question while we wait for this guy to do his thing. I am pretty sure the idea is supposed to be that they came with the Death Knights. I think that's supposed to be the idea, because we don't really see anything with these guys anywhere else outside of these dungeons, right? Like, they don't really kind of do anything with them outside of where we find them here. So I think they're just supposed to be added set dressing to be like, it wasn't just the Death Knights, they had other worshippers and stuff. I think overall the idea is to flesh out not so much Godwyn's stuff and those who live in death, so much as like the cult, which we only really get kind of seen through the lens of Fia, because she's obviously like, you know, front and center in the quest line. But there's obvious ideas that there's like different, at least either independent or a unified death cult that is also emerging kind of like we have with like the rot cult that emerges after the whole Melania unleashing hell upon Caelid type thing. So I'm pretty sure that's the like general vibe. But these are just kind of like people that the Death Knights came with afterwards in search of the holy faces of Godwyn that would appear. Someone should have told them to come to Stormvale. Clearly they didn't get the memo before they left. All right, granted, based on what we know, the face probably didn't appear until after the shattering was over too, so I'm pretty sure these Death Knights would have left by that point. Okay, if they just have the one attack, I'm getting out of here then. I don't need to be here. There we go. Lol. Now I'm gonna trust that you don't move, Mr. Knight. But I can just loot this. Sneaky, sneaky. All right. Makes you wonder if these are more rebels, you know? Something like this, that's fine, I guess. Something like that. There we go. Yeah, there we go. This is okay. All right, so those guys, we've got that covered. Now we may continue along the chosen path. Yeah, so as far as the Godwyn stuff is concerned, I don't think too much of it is that important. I think it's nice little fleshing out details that were kind of not given that much attention in the base game. That clearly Miyazaki felt they needed more. I do like the idea of there being, like, you know, that Godwyn had his own personal bodyguards, because that just kind of makes sense for someone of his stature. Like, we see them with Radahn, we see them with, like, Melania and stuff like that. Like, I feel like it's almost, like, expected that almost every demigod, at least demigod of major note, would have them. I think the only ones that we don't have, like, a dedicated personal guard for would be, like, Godric and Godofla, which, again, wouldn't be that crazy, considering Godofla probably would turn them all into grafting. And Godric's obviously just kind of like a minor asshole. He's not important enough to have his own personal guard, you know, so. Paying respects to the buried. That could be it. All right, now let's see. Yeah, I like that shot too. Nobody asked. Sure, we'll just do that. Do I have a filter on, by the way, chat? Let me double check. Oh, no, that's for mics. Whoops. My bad. All right. No, that's something else. I could have swore. Yeah, maybe I'm just going crazy. Yeah, no, I don't see any filters on here. That is what the glove ward is used for. That is true. So you have like giant glove wart just being left there on the ground, not even being picked. Yeah, that would make sense if they're just kind of leaving it there as kind of like a general respect for the dead type thing. Yeah. Holy, I forgot. I forgot how big this room was. Like I was like, oh, was it always this long? And the answer is yes. Oh boy. No blood on this one that I'm seeing. Ah, there it is. There it is. Well, this looks wrong. That'll be fine. Whew. There we are. Oh. I'll be honest, I don't think I like that angle as much as the previous one. Yeah, this one does it for me more. Let me also make sure... God, I don't even remember where, There we go. Okay, yeah, it's normal. Hello, friend. Oh! I fell for that one, didn't I? Man, spooky. Oh. Oh, I think I got a shot with that item in there too. Yeah. Oh. Oh. Whoa. All right. Always our friendly neighborhood crawling carrion. These dead people who obviously don't like when their graves are being disturbed by flooding. I will admit, I like swimming. I would hate to find myself waking up swimming. Understandable. Understandable. That was not shocking at all. Yeah, this is for the incantations of the cult. Yeah. So they clearly give the idea that there's a bunch of body. Is this a horn scent body? It is in fact a horn scent body, hilariously enough. So they definitely give the impression that there are definitely horn scent probably in here. So like Xavier was saying earlier, maybe there is the idea that there's a lot of horn scent that are just kind of hiding out in these catacombs, which interesting choice, but I guess it'd be the last place you'd look if you were subject to the crusade, I suppose. Mm-hmm. Trying to get it really good on this front one here. Good enough. Ooh, I think if I was a little... Come on. Good enough. I like that. Okay. That should cover it. Up, up, up we go. Okay, no, this is just the game. So I'm like, why is it looking invisible? Yeah, no, it's just the game with its camera thing and how it handles objects. All weird. Oh god, I don't know where I'm at. Oh god. Oh no. We're all the way back here. Oh no. It's okay. We have Stake America. Is that the first death this entire stream? Like, wow. I'm actually impressed with myself for once. Like, how was I not dead? Oh. Alright, glass shards. Oh. Ah! There we go, up here. Shadow Realm Rune 3. I don't remember the Realm runes having anything. Yeah, it's just soldiers who. Okay. So there are at least some divisions for like soldiers and stuff. So those could actually be useful for lore stuff. So it's like, see, soldiers buried here. Interesting how this soldier got such a fancy ass tomb, but okay, sure, why not? Oh. Ah, right. I forgot. Oh, a little too early. Yeah, that should be it. But they had another stake right before the boss. That was nice of them. Anyway, so what factions do you think existed around the same time as the Hornsent before the Erdtree came into the picture? Well, obviously Farum Azula, because the Farum Azula war thing has to be happening here. The Death Birds are around. I don't know how functional the Death Cult would be. I think it'd probably be more scattered. The Farum colonies would be around at this point. Amongst the colonies, you would have the Sun Capital. You would have, obviously, Gelmir and Volcano Manor. If I'm right, this may have been where the Nomadic Merchants tribe was originally. Like, these would be those who didn't become nomads because they converted. Obviously there's Dominula and all those related to the Gelmir snake worshipping cult stuff, right? If you want to count it, you can say like Marika's village as well before, you know. You know. Rhea Lucaria would be established by this point. Also, you probably already have Caria. Like, Marika and Renala's rise to power seem to happen almost concurrently. Like, it seems like Renala basically starts coming to power shortly before Marika has her own rise. So it seems to more or less be like, you know, 1-to-1. But in general, you have the whole Lascar tribe with Rhea Lucaria and stuff here. You have the Carians moving here. You have the entire Celian, not really an empire, but you know, the larger Celian network in Caelid already here. Obviously, you have the Fire Giants here. You have astrologers as well, again, with the stuff there. You have the various Nox things. So you have obviously Celia down here, but you also have Ordina. You have, of course, like those that are kind of like living around and like powwowing with in the Sun Capital. You have the Storm Hawks, if you consider them a quote-unquote faction, right? But like obviously they should be here already at this point. Then you have like pagans and stuff here. I'm not so sold on whether or not we already have the faith sorcerers that move out all the way down here. I'm not sure about that yet. It might just be like death pagan like people living down here. Obviously you have Greyol and Egg Sykes and all the dragons and stuff that are warring with Farum Azula as well over here, like by Dragon Barrow and stuff. So that's also a thing. I think that covers most of them. Because Ancient Dynasty and Ancient Civ have already collapsed by this point. Obviously, the stuff with Baal's already come to pass. Yeah, I think that should cover it. In the Realm of Shadow, I don't think I missed anyone either. Don't forget the Zamor. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's true. That's true. Zamor is technically like its own thing here, right? So you still have Zamor, and they're having their rivalry with the Giants at this point, right? Like that goes way back. So like, yeah, technically it's not just the Fire Giants. You have Fire Giants, Farm Colonists, Astrologers, and the Zamor. All of them active here on the mountaintops. If we want to get cheeky, we can even say the Kaiden. They're kind of just like doing their thing over in these beautiful snowfields with their horsies. Good old Cade boys. Yeah, I'm struggling to think of many other like tribes and factions that would be existent at this point. Like maybe there's some in Caelid that I don't know about yet, but I think we've covered all the major ones. But like, yeah, the Lands Between has a very rich and like interconnected history. So there's a lot of stuff that happens before Marika enters the scene, right? Then Marika enters the scene, right? And then she's got to basically take over this entire highland area. Then she's gonna go over and take over basically this mountaintop area. We know she eventually will get to Liurnia, but for the time being, she's like, okay, yeah, I'm fine with like kind of stopping here. Like there's like, you know, Caria is not gonna threaten, you know, Renala's empire. I mean, Marika's empire at this point, right? All she wants is to be able to establish a foothold down here to presumably head off Farum Azula in case anything happens down south this way. Yeah. So yeah, there isn't really much interruption happening with the Erd Tree beyond what's going up north initially. Things are chill with the Hornsen as well. And then that's when the Glowmite Queen stuff happens. That's when things break down and suddenly Marika's now, okay, we have to crusade and massacre the Hornsen in order to secure the tower so no one will become god after me. Then Marika's studying fundamentalism, and she's like, okay, I need to get that knowledge and stuff that Liurnia has a treasure trove on. I need it. So that's where we get the Liurnian Wars, right? Ancient Dragons finally get off their ass and be like, oh, I think the new Erd Tree Kingdom is responsible for an entire piece of mass south of it disappearing into the ether, you know? Geez, I think that's why all our people disappeared, and along with Baal. Baal, curse you, Baal. Anyway, so then they get off their ass, right? And then it just becomes, okay, the farm colonists and stuff at Stormvale end up revolting and things like that, and they take over basically all this, and they're ready to basically, like, you know, kind of like restart the farm colonies, but more like in a more aggressive manner where it's like the greater Farum Empire almost, like, right? But obviously they have to first deal with Marika and Godfrey and stuff, and well, we know how that worked out. It basically all collapsed no sooner than it started. Do you think the mountaintops was lush and green like the ruins of Rao and only became frozen wasteland after the fall of the fire giants in their forge and the Zamor froze things over? No, because the ice dragons seem to have existed even when the fire giants came. So I think it was already a frozen mountaintop well before any of that. I think what... I don't know exactly what it could be, but I get the feeling it probably has something to do with the fairies. Because, you know, ice, water, and everything. What's suspicious to me is that it seems that all the fairy rivers originate from the freezing lake here. So look, you have this frozen lake that has like these rivers, and you got the one here, right? But then you have the ones that are also appearing underground. You know, it comes through to Deeproot, then splits into Ainsel and Shifra. Like that I find very suspicious, and it makes me wonder if the water is either directly responsible for causing the ice here, or if like it's the ice was supposed to be some kind of seal on this water somehow or something. But yeah, I think it predates yeah, I don't think the mountaintops has been lush and green for a very long time. I can't tell you how long exactly. I don't know when exactly it started because I don't know what exactly is the cause of all the snow here. But I definitely don't think that it was something that was like, oh, well, you know, Zamor were crazy about ice randomly, and then when the giants got taken over, suddenly, you know, they became, they spread the ice everywhere. No, I'm pretty sure the idea is supposed to be the ice was already here. The Zamor, as a tribe, as a people, had established themselves as worshippers of the ice, and when the fire giants came in and kicked off the ice dragons and you know, took over their little summit, that created conflict because there was, you know, fire and ice and all that stuff, and they were not very happy with the fire thing. And that, I think, probably it has to go back pretty early. It could be even something like there is that talk about this war with the gods and stuff like that. I don't know if it could be connected to that as an era, because I don't really have a very defined idea of like when these war against like gods were. So that I don't know. But it could be something where like there were some major events that happened at some point and that led to the mountaintops becoming a frozen tundra. Yeah, I like this. Yeah, that's cool. Might be as simple as elevation. No, because the reason we're talking about this, Nick, is because we know from the Spirit Caller cave that the trees and everything, like it's definitely like there definitely was it, much like with Caelid, there was a time when, like, you know, the mountaintops was green. It had lots of greenery, it had grasses and bushes and all these things that otherwise do not exist there, right? Or at least they don't exist there in the same way because, well, they're frozen and all that stuff. So I don't think we could just chalk it up to, oh, you know, it's at a higher altitude. You could say that might contribute to it, but I don't think that's the reason why we have all that snow. And seemingly year round. It definitely seems to be the case of there is something either magical or some major event happened that induced a major ecological change, you know? I guess in this case we should say more temporal? No, temporal would be time, right? Whatever the term would be to talk about, like, you know, temperature changes and things like that, but major climate change I think happened. Yeah, this will work. Oh. Is that what I think it is? It's really hard to tell. Yeah, we gotta... Oh. Huh. I don't recall. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I don't recall these statues in the normal catacomb chambers that these are. Were these tacked on? The Rao architecture in general insinuates flowing water at some point, I think. I do think it's true that there is definitely a deep connection between Rao and flowing water. That I agree. I don't know if the architecture by itself tells you that has to be the case, right? Because, like, we see it being used, for example, just as, like, bridges and stuff. And we already have, like, the river and lake and stuff without any sign of there, like, being ruins necessarily, like, connected to that. But I think we do see enough cases where it's very obvious that Rao architecture and ancient Civ stuff in general had a thing for flowing water and stuff, which makes me suspicious about the potential connection to, like, the nomads and things like that, the water nomads. So, yeah. That's definitely been on my mind for sure. Right. All right. Let us get a few shots of this guy running around, I think. I think we can get away with that. There we go. There we are. Hello? Hello? Uh-oh. Even Moog's Arena has grooves for water now filled with fire. That's a Ancient Dynasty though, so I don't know if I would necessarily draw a one-to-one comparison between the two there. Maybe, but I don't want to say that for absolute certain, because I feel like there's a lot more. There's definitely something water related with Ancient Dynasty, like with the bubbles and stuff, but like, and obviously the fairy rivers is also connected there, but I have a lot of questions. Not bad with the skeletons and stuff there. Yeah, I think I like the original, but we'll do this just for... There we go. These guys aren't those who live in death either. Yeah, I wasn't expecting them to be, so that tracks. These guys should just be normal knights. They're worshipping soulless Godwyn, but they're not soulless themselves. At least not yet. And I don't think we need an extra focus. I already have shots of the armor and stuff from when, like, I wear it. So I'm not too concerned about that. All right. Uh-huh. Oh, whoops. Should have dodged that. All right. Cool. Uh-huh. Too early. Alright, gonna do anything electric themed for me? I don't remember if there's like a phase change thing with him that I need to be concerned about. Death become him? Maybe I'm in. Maybe. Easier to see, obviously, with the player. Yeah, just in general, just getting the player version armor and using that as a reference for any close-ups on the design, I think is just better. I think the fact that we show them in the arena is obviously important. I think how we do it is fine already. If this guy's not going to do much in ways of electricity. Ow. 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 There is? Okay, then. Oh! Okay, that's a pretty cool shot. I like that. That is pretty cool. go. There's a phase change when he goes to grab you. Oh. I don't remember getting grabbed by him, so... Interesting. Oh, now I remember that, though. This is more so just for... I don't think I ever need a close-up of this, but just for the sake of, like, confirming, like, yeah, we have it. Okay. Just $50 an hour. I don't think I need him to be powering my AI data centers today. I wondered if the knight on their cape is just a Godwyn knight, or if it's supposed to be Godwyn. What do you mean the knight on their cape? Is there like a knight's image, like in the form here? Or do you mean like the regular cape when you're wearing the player armor? All right. Wait a second. Where's my BGM? Where's my BGM? Oh, I guess I didn't set it to loop. Oh well. Pick another one. Melancholia Immortal. All right. Oh. All right. Can't see it because of the ghost wings, but yeah, okay, cool. All right, I think I need more speed. I don't remember if he does any other attacks besides the lightning hurl, but just in case. Oh. This looks familiar. Jeez, I wonder where I've seen something like this before. Symbol on their back looks more like a hawk than a knight, but it's hard to tell. I might have a shot of it, so I'll have to take a look myself. Can you show his butt? Sure, I man. Let's go take a look at those glutes. I don't know, looks like a pretty flat ass if you ask me. Ugh. Sorry, ladies. I don't think he got it. Alright. Alright. Stars? I can't remember if the description mentions this, but I think these are supposed to be like stars or something. All right. I think this will work. Look, you know they're gonna take the stream down. It's like, sorry, YouTube. I gotta do what my chat says. They said they wanted to get a butt shot. Strange armor, no butt protection. It's supposed to be a specific type of armor. Oh, really? The helmet looks familiar to me. Like, I could see that being a Renaissance thing. Not sure about the rest of it, though. Reminds me of Kari and Glintblade? Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I can see how it reminds you of Kari and Glintblade. Alright, is that it? Is that it? Is it just the jump flash? I think it is. Oh! Come on. Ah! All right. There we go. There we go. All right, let's do this. All right, we have to be getting close to phase 2 at this point. I think a few more hits. There we go. Oh. Yep. There we go. Convo was arranged to marry Ronnie, confirmed. That's why Ronnie had to kill him. Marika set them up, and she was very, very mad about it. She's like, listen, I'll put up with this whole Empyrean stuff. I'll put up with this fate of a demigod and all that stuff. I'll even put up with all the horrible shit you did to my mother. But marrying a golden brother of mine? Hell no. I don't care if there's not actually a drop of blood between us. There we go. We're memeing I-Man. It's not official. It's not at all official. I don't know if I'd even say I don't know if it's even necessarily like a fundamentalist thing. I think it might just be just a development of the stuff with Lightning under Godwyn. Though I guess you could argue maybe some of that creeped in like over time. I mean, Godwyn definitely seems to be the type that he'll champion it all. We don't really see like intelligence in his own magic, so I don't know. Anyway. Oh, this is the grab, isn't it? This is the grab you guys are talking about. Nah, that's ugly. Maybe. I don't know. I think it... We don't get a lot of shots of the hair and stuff on these guys. Oh. God, if only I could remove myself from the shot, this would be like perfection, but... I mean, this is not that bad, you know? It's still pretty cool. There we go. I think we got it. I think we got the magic angle. Pay no attention to the naked man dodge rolling off screen. Yeah, this looks really cool. Cool animation to grab if you want shots. Does he do it again? I assume he does. I assume it's not just a one and done thing. So if we see him doing it again, sure. But if I kill him first, well... Oh well. Radigan did help develop the lightning stuff. That is true. That is true. It's just I feel like the Death Knights might have already developed this beforehand, but sure, I could definitely see it. I definitely see the idea that that Radigan stuff contributed. At the very least, it might be worth mentioning if I ever get to this stuff with them. All right. Uh-oh. I think I like this better. All right. All right. Okay. There we go. There we are. All right. This'll do. All right. Oh. Oh, he's doing a spin to win. I see. Yes, Sub-Zero. I talked about it in my Radigan's Reign thesis. I talk a bit about it there. And you get to see some of the stuff from the Church of Radigan you see up there and things like that. It ties into that whole he mastered sorceries under Renala and then incantations married to Marika, right? All right. Oh, come on. Threw off my dodge timing. Burn, baby, burn. You wish Godwin had specific more golden lightning like sunlight stuff. Yeah, it might have been cool if they divvied it up. You know? Might have been cool if they did that. Sure. All right. I don't remember if that's enough. No, it's not. The man is trying to find me. Credit where credit is due, he is trying to get to me. He is like, I know you are here. And he'd be right. I am, in fact, his enemy. Godwin's the guy who made Golden Lightning, right? It was just Red Lightning under Dragon. No, he didn't make Golden Lightning. Lightning, you know, Lightning... Yeah, again, Red Lightning has always been, like, derived from gold. It's like the Crucible stuff, right? It comes from the same holy power, right? It comes from holy gold, right? So, much like how, like, you know, you have this, like, you know, the original type of gold is red for with the Crucible and stuff. Same thing with the lightning that the dragons were using. It just becomes, well, golden lightning as it, I guess, degrades from, like, its original overwhelming power. All right. Could take off always stealth. Does this fix that? I think so. Well, uh-huh. Oh, is he healing? One way to find out. Oh yeah, holy shit, he healed a whole freaking lot. I had him like almost dead and he went back to like half health. Holy. All right, I think we have enough shots. I think we have enough shots here. I think we can get away with killing him. Sucks Ghost Flame out of you and fully heals practically. Yeah, that's yeah, if you leave him at half HP, right? Because that's when he does the phase transition and he gets you. He basically gets all his HP back. Yeah, that's pretty wild. I don't remember where the other thing shows up, so. Let's get our shots of this out of the way. Yeah, it's pretty wild. He takes all that spirit energy out of you, I guess. Also can actually fly. Lol. Yeah, it does definitely kind of remind me of like that Chinese chi skill that you get. What do they call it? Life drain? I forget what they called it in English. Life steal. All right. Damn, I missed. Yep, I had the right idea. Dude gave me so much grief. There we go. All right, so cool. I got a nice reminder on different I thought I saw something. No, I did not. I'm crazy. I'm just going insane. I'm going insane, losing my mind, suffering from a little Miraclex. It's kind of wild how the full model of the Stormveil corpse is going to be kind of basilisk-like in shape. Yeah, I definitely like the I definitely kind of like the Stormveil look. I think maybe slightly better than I like the actual body, you know, the OG in Deeproot Depths. I'm not sure how I feel about the whole mermaid tail. Oh yeah, then in that case, Sub-Zero, yeah, you're right. Like yeah, Godwin's the one that really made it where, like, you know, the focus is purely on, like, you know, yellow gold and stuff. You don't see too much red gold. Though, again, it's not like it's forbidden or anything, because we do see some rare cases where it is, like, shared, right? It's not like, oh, this is a taboo or what have you. But obviously, everyone's happy with just the yellow gold. The other one... I'm trying to remember where these damn things are. There's the other one over here, right? Also the Deathblight Dancing Lion and Rao. Yeah, though I'm not sure if that has anything to do with Godwin in recent times, or if that has to do with the idea of just death in general in old, you know, the old days, like during the Deathbirds and all that stuff. Because obviously, we clearly see that even the Hornsent, we're still doing the Deathbird worship thing, even when their whole civilization revolves more around life than death. So, but granted, they also had the whole abundance and rot thing also mixed in there. So, it definitely seems like Hornsent culture in general was a lot more holistic than what we see with Marika, where the focus is so purely on life over death and all that stuff. I think I have shots of stuff like this before, but I really don't remember. I don't really remember this not being so foggy, but we'll take it. Pretty sure I have a shot of these guys too. Oh, what the hell? What the hell? There we go. Wait, where did that thing pop in from? Get over here. You're not allowed to have little dust bunny bowl things in the middle of my shot. I don't know if you made it there yet, but what do you make of the frozen jails? Are those dynasty ruins? It's been a while since I last explored them, but I recall there being slight differences in the architecture, at least in some of the models stuff, so I'm not entirely sure if they have any connection to the dynasties. That is something where I'm gonna have to give you an IOU on that one. Oh, we'll just do this, I guess. Tumbleweed, whatever they're called. I don't care. They're annoying is what they are. Oh, okay, sure. Whatever. Whether it doesn't want to cooperate, that's its problem, not mine. There we are. Beautiful. Just in time before the rain fucked me. Nobody likes getting F'd by rain, chat. It's not even a creature. There we go. I do find it funny, the idea that you have all these worshippers moving in and they decide, you know what this place needs? We need to add basilisk statues. Like, they just added their own defenses. I do just kind of find the implication of that really funny. It's odd how different Mesmer boys treat death. What do you mean exactly, Xavier? Care to elaborate? I mean, because they're still doing the whole catacomb thing. It's just, well, Godwin happens to move in. I also find it convenient how every catacomb seems to have this problem, but you know. Who am I to get in the way of our glorious leader? There we go. Yeah, glove warrant. I wonder if those are actual basilisk false eyes since they have the veins. Yeah, you know, I never really thought about it. I always kind of be like, you know, they're modeling up. But yeah, maybe they actually took actual basilisk. It would be funny though if the eyes don't decay even without the body. Kind of like gives a callback to the Eyes of Death in DS1. I knew it. Like, I'm gonna get shot. I saw the blood this time. Man, they really like using the statue in these catacombs. Granted, it is nice that these catacombs have a little bit more going on to them compared to the OG, you know? I do appreciate that. Oh, I think the closest we get to something like this is in the consecrated snowfield, right? That catacomb to get there. Night Rain has some Mesmer troops hanging out with Death Knights with lightning buffs. Well, again, ostensibly, Death Knights and Mesmer soldiers are part of the same kingdom. So there's no reason for them not to team up in the chaotic situation that is Night Rain. Like, there's no reason for them to be, like, against working together, right? It'd be more surprising if it was something like, what would be a good example? If it was something like the Cuckoos working with, like, Godric's forces or something, considering they went to war together. Like, that'd be like, oh, that's an interesting alliance, given their history. I honestly preferred the more with less quality in terms of the caves, mines, and catacombs. Again, I liked the dungeons for what they were, but I do think that the catacombs had a problem where they would start looking very samey, right? Like they didn't feel very distinct enough. It's kind of like that problem in like OG Oblivion and Skyrim, where it's like you have these different forts and stuff that all these histories or whatever, but they're all using the same preset tiles. That just basically kind of like neuter like the history and distinct culture and, you know, all the other circumstances that would go into the building of these forts, right? Which is what I liked about the Skyblivion mod project. They were working on, you know, giving the forts, like making them very distinct from each other. So it wasn't just like, you know, reusing the same copy-paste models for all of them. Okay. I don't think this is the right way. No. No, I don't. In Night Rain, there are Death Knights in camp with Hornsent. That also does not surprise me. Because Death Knights have no reason to really be hostile to Hornsent in their current circumstance either. Stupid item. Woo. There we go. Yeah, something like that. I like that each type was of different rarity, so caves more common and basic in layout, but catacombs fewer, longer and harder, tunnels, forges in between. I think it's fine if the way they're scaled differently for area instead of by type. Like I said, I think my major issue would be like Like, you could argue maybe this is too big, but this is like, you know, DLC stuff. But like, I would have liked it if we had more catacombs that did go more creative with the layouts and the variety in architecture. So they're just, again, it just doesn't feel like you're just going down very samey hallways and stuff. You know, this was the same problem that the Chalice dungeons have. Only one single cave in the DLC. Yeah, I do not, you know, I don't have like strong opinions when it comes to the caves and the caves being in the DLC, because again, the caves are probably, again, I probably like the caves the most out of the 3 in the OG base game, right? Because you know, it just felt very naturalistic. I didn't mind the copy paste it, but I get it. Like, why are you going to create so many caves when it's like, you know, we've already kind of seen the extent of what they can do with caves. So like, I get it. Is this? I'm not sure. I'm gonna just take the leap of faith. Gee, I wonder why these guys are here. Man, I wonder why. Caves are my favorite. Yeah, I think I like caves the most. It's one of those things where you really kind of felt like you were exploring like a natural place in the world the most of all things. Catacombs definitely feel the most dungeony, and I don't know if that always works to the game's advantage. No, you gotta go this. No. Over here. Over here. There we go. Oh. Dumbass. Dumbass. Now that we made fun of that idiot. Wait. Oh. Oh. I'll be honest. I'm not sure if I ever knew this. Maybe I just don't remember. It is my goldfish memory we're talking about here, but like, I don't remember this being... Yeah. Huh. That's really neat. I really like that. Caves had the most variety, so they were always more novel. Yeah, but I think what made caves, I think it's just the fact that like when it comes to copy pasting asset, caves are the ones where like it just feels the most normal. Like your brain's not going, oh, I've been through this like chamber or this hallway of a cave before, because like it's a cave, right? Like your brain kind of feels like it's different enough. Whereas with something artificial, like say a catacomb, you can be like, yeah, I've seen this exact same architecture copy pasted here before. It feels more gamey. Yeah, that's cool. I never even realized. All right, so there is a way. There's a way through all this. Yeah, there's definitely a way through all this that I'm just not, my brain is not, it's not thinking about. Uh-huh. Oh, well, a little too far. There we go. Oh, there's a ladder here. That's why. Duh, of course. Here I'm thinking I might have missed an illusory wall or something. All right. See illusory walls? No? Okay. I trust you. Yep, okay, trusted. Trust reaffirmed. Loki has no navigation skills. Listen, I'm in brain off just trying to take in everything but the gameplay. I'm not gonna be trying to explore this like I did in my original playthrough. Oh. All that. Ah, there you are. that noise. All right, unpause game. There we go. Okay. Jeez. Probably get a shot of that if I die and respawn again. With the guys not moving. Yeah, they're really liberal with the Hornsent. I guess you could theoretically say Hornsent got recruited by the Death Knights here. It's possible. I wouldn't say it's outside the realm of possibility. All right, this one. Again, I think while we're down here like this, we're safe. Oh no, I'm getting affected now. At the very least, it's visibly showing that. Holy mother of... I forgot you guys got so big. I guess that certainly would make more sense than just trying to hide. I think it could be a mixture of both. But I would definitely agree, it'd definitely be an interesting choice to try to be hiding here, right? But again, I think it's one of those things that it's vague enough that you can imagine your own scenario that makes the most sense. I don't think the devs were getting too crazy about what they wanted for this. I like the catacombs because they're trick traps, which you'd often use in Egg Game the level. Some real DS2 vibes with these places. I definitely, again, I definitely like, I just overall like what they do with traps and stuff in the, with the dungeons and stuff for the catacombs and things. Like I liked it when the caves would have like false floors and stuff you'd fall through and you'd be forced to navigate. Like there's just a lot of really cool and fun little scenarios you can get yourself caught in. Ah, damn, I was kind of wanting a shot of the guy with all the stuff next to him, but okay, fine. Ghost level. Uh-huh. Man. They must really hate you. They must really hate you if they want you to jump down here, you know? All right. This guy does the other spell? Okay, then we'll get a shot of it. Okay, yeah, it's just this. I think maybe I am safe. It's hard to tell. Oh god, I'm definitely getting myself lost here. Okay, oh, this takes me to the boss at least. That's death. know what's in here. Now we'll find out. Okay, cool. The cookbooks. Yes, they really settled into this one. That's what they're trying to get across. Like, they have built the traps. They do so. Like, they're working alongside the imps. All right, here we go. Let's do it. I need more dragons in dungeon, or at least some beers. Beers or bears? I never can be too sure with you, I-Man. All right, here we go. Slow things down, and there we are. All right. Bears who serve beers. So I guess we're going to a gay bar then. All right, there we go. He looks like Dumbledore, but just dead. Probably not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah, the nose thing is, I think, the most curious part, because I don't think we ever see any other hollows with just the nose, except for the rotten hollows. Right? Like, I think those are the only ones we see where their bodies are, like, fully rotted like this. All right, let's see. Come on. Yeah, it's really hard to get a nice cinematic shot here without my my hand getting in the way. This might be the best I got. There we go. There we are. All right. Yeah, it's gonna be so much harder to get there. Why don't we get this spell? Ow. All right. There we go. No, yeah, it follows you too quickly. There's no delay or anything. It's always just under you. So unless I turn my actual body invisible, I can't really get a good shot of this. Oh well. I tried. I tried. Alright, back to always stealthing. Oh. 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 He never gave up. Whoops. You know, in Night Rain they made Scholar look like Voldemort. I have heard this, yes. All right. There we are. Can use the beer again. He's vanishing a little late now. Is there any major differences between what the two knights do? In terms of like, you know, not like, oh, this one does the swing with his long axe, the other one does it with the double axe. Like, is there anything like meaningfully different in terms of what they can do with their movesets? Like, does this one have like, he'll do a giant slice down and cause a giant electrical AoE or something? It was Harry Potter, baby, and Dumbledore. Oh god, no. Yes? Okay. Hmm. Oh, this is not following me around endlessly. Interesting. This should be enough. Just to be safe. Alright, different versions of the lightning spread, slash, and rush move. Okay, so there's not that much variety. Okay. The spin dash. All right, so in that case, I will get a few shots of him in phase 2. Oh, too early. Yeah. That's gonna get me killed. Right, something like that. I like that. All right. Ow! Uh-huh. All right. Oh, that's definitely new. That's definitely new. Yeah, this slam looking a little nicer. Yeah, so instead of the spinning attacks with the twin axes, we get this. Cool. There you go. All right. All right. Okay, anything with you just electrifying your weapon and swinging at us, maybe? No? Come on. Come on. He's really sticking to the lightning fundamentals. Uh-huh. Just one more that has the lightning explode across the ground. Okay. Is that probably when he just electrifies his weapons, I imagine, and he starts swinging them around? Because right now he's not doing that. And I can't imagine they didn't do it for this guy if they did it for the twin axe boy. Ah. Okay, there we go. Come on, you have to do it at some point, man. Man, this guy really wants to be mundane about it. Come on, buddy. Come on. Do it. Do it. Come on. Come on, hit me. Hit me. Wow. He really just wants to spite me, huh? Yeah, weapon reappears with the lightning. It's a little flash. I noticed it the first time. I don't know if the twin axe guy did the same thing. Ow. Not what I had in mind. Come on. Mundane of heaven. Come on, Mr. Heavenly Soldier. You can do better than this. Don't make me have to send you back to Mount Olympus. Oh. No, it's still doing just the jump. Yeah, it's too early. I was like, damn. Ah, damn. Dude just would not cooperate, man. All right. Oh my god. There we go. All right, there we go. Guess you just weren't worthy of the cool move. Guess not. All right, all right. Steak. Oh. There. Gotta disable the camera first. Well. This has to be enough now. All right. Fun. It doesn't work at close range. I have to assume it's a long range thing. At which point we need to get as much distance between us as possible and hope he doesn't do just the jump. The problem is he has that lightning attack, so. Oh! Not really what I wanted, but I'll take it, I guess. All right. It is close range. Okay, then I'm just unlucky, I guess. All right. I can't believe that worked. I thought it was way too early. Ah. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I think this is literally the perfect angle. Yeah, that's fine. All right. Alrighty. There we go. All right. Interesting concept. Obviously, my character being there kind of ruins it, but like the idea. All right. All right. I don't see anything crazy. There you go. All right. It almost looks holy with all the glow. Actually, it does look a lot like the holy shine effects. I would not be surprised if there's something similar going on there. All right. There we go. All right, let's kill him. We got the shots we wanted. We got what we wanted. There we go. All right. All right, there we are. There we are. All right, and with that, I think we're gonna call it. I think we got what we wanted out of these two. There's obviously the third one, but we can always do that some other time. Yeah, I'm really happy with that one. I felt like we got some really good shots at like the different catacombs and what they have in there. I was able to kind of develop my thoughts a little bit on like what I thought about the Death Knights things. You guys asked some interesting questions today, so I feel like, yeah, I'm getting back into the swing of things, you know? I'm going to try to be streaming more consistently now. I know the big project I mentioned last time, it's definitely eating up a lot of my time, but I'm hoping I'll be able to kind of squeeze back in more of this stuff for you guys. Yeah. Yeah, nothing really much else to say, I guess. Overall, I'm just really proud of, I'm really proud of what I'm doing on the fly here, so I can't share it with you guys, but just know that, like, you know, it's a really cool thing. Yeah, let's go back here. Woo! Yep, there we go, perfect. And then, yeah, I hope I don't aggro you from all the way over there when I come back here. Anyway, and then we'll see what we're gonna do, because there's a lot of shit I want to do. I want to catch up on a lot of things we want to do on the side, and maybe mix in some Night Rain in between, and then I don't know. We'll see what the screenshot stuff will look like in the future, but I don't know. We'll just figure it out as we go along, right? It's going to probably be very casual though, because, you know, there's not a lot that I really need to grab right now. Maybe we'll do some Bloodborne for Lorraine when we get closer to that thesis being done, but I don't believe you that it's cool. Believe me, I swear, it's the coolest thing ever. Anyway, until then, guys, thank you so much. Later.